I just want to walk you through what our goals will be during this span of March 23rd through March 29th. So if you see, this is our show right here. And I added a link in the dashboard, March 23rd through March 29th. I kept the link from the announcement I put up there yesterday to the mental health over telephone that is available now through the Department of Human Services. Definitely, please take advantage of that if you need someone to talk to about this current moment that we're in. We will get through it. This is probably something that happens, I guess, every 100 years, and it's biology. It's biology, and it's intersecting with media and politics in a fascinating way. You need to remember to exercise self-care during that, and hopefully have this take up a good portion of your day with other course obligations, exercise, and communication with family and friends. That is essential. But you can see that I provided quick links to everything you want to do during this week. I included the link from my last announcement from the 16th through the 22nd, general note on synthesis content. Just review it on your own time. That explains everything about the remaining synthesis papers. With regard to how I will be grading your synth work, as well as the reflective reports, as well as the final research paper, open up this resource comment list. And I encourage you to take a look at it in advance because I include links to video resources that, based on the data from our course, we're seeing at least these top 10 challenges show up in our writing. And I think we can cut that off at the pass. We can be proactive and arm yourself with some knowledge on how to create better prose, more manageable prose in these 10 ways. And a general reference point about MLA citation: do not be a stranger in our shell to the MLA resources link in our dashboard. Review all of this, work your way through all of this in a study rhythm and tempo. And also, as we get closer to the due date for the final research paper, which is still technically going to be April 21st, definitely refer to the final research paper info link in the dashboard and work your way through this content. Everything here will be of value and will be worth your time. Okay, particularly the successful research paper from last semester, the overview on structure, the incorporating sources handout, everything about the research document specifics, and the information on paraphrasing. So that's all going to be helpful for you. Now back into this week, because we want to try to think big picture, but also have a 1 week at a time mentality. The general note on synthesis content, the resource comment list, that will explain the remaining synthesis work and how your remaining written work will be evaluated. But then we have post 3. And I provided a quick link here that you can click. And we already have some people, Manuel and Nicholas have chimed in. You click create thread, and then you put in your content. Remember that post 3 has a primary deadline of March 25th, right? Here it is right here, primary deadline of March 25th, which would mean you want your responses to 2 classmates by March 27th, 11:59 p.m. Standard Time. You can do that. And it's going to be based on Owen and Sawhill, Unger, Murray, Addison, Castleman, Graff, and Rose. So basically the cluster that we find ourselves in right now is right here. Owen and Sawhill, Unger, Murray, and Addison. That was last week. Castleman, Graff, and Rose would be today. And you're working towards a submission of Sim 3 by the 26th. So email me if you have any questions about that. Let's talk. And then the due date for post 3 would still be Wednesday, March 25th. All right, so back to this week, because again, we're just walking our way through this content. Realistic, attainable, digestible, I hope, post 3, synthesis 3, and then of course reflective report 3. I graded all reflective report 2s that were submitted. And if you have backlogged synthesis papers or reflective reports, submit them. Submit them, email me as you submit them, and let's talk about it, but submit them. Don't just sit on that. Always submit and then communicate with me. I'm being very, very active in emails so we can have conversations about that. But Reflective Report 3 has been posted. So if you click it, you'll note that I gave it a deadline of Tuesday, April 7th. Tuesday, April 7th, okay? 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can go into your calendar for sure. And don't forget that as a quick way to see everything that you have due coming up. So here we are here. It shows up as black on my page. It might be a little bit different on yours, but find the color that corresponds to our class, and every assignment that's coming due should be on that calendar. So you can budget your time accordingly. Now for Reflective Report 3, just a quick explanation of what I need you to do with that. It's using your third source, right? So, we have 4 reflective reports for, that lead up to this research paper because you have 4 sources that you're gathering for this research paper. So we're going to keep this nice and simple and digestible. Step 1, type word for word a portion of your third source that is at least 3 lines. So this is the example of that. This is all from the student's third source, word for word. You're simply retyping it, okay? You're simply retyping it. And you want to find a passage that has some teeth. You want to find a passage that is significant and can say something, or that finds your author saying something that frames the trajectory of their position, right? So step 2, identify the author, authors, or organization that is behind your quoted portion above. So in this example is Benjamin Shibata, a first name, last name. If you have multiple authors, list them all. If you have no authors, but it's an organization, list the organization. So list the identifying body that is behind the article. And in the event that you're choosing an excerpt in step 1 that is by someone that your author is quoting, like say, for example, step 1 is by someone named Benjamin Jones, and Benjamin Jones is being quoted within the article by someone named Neil Diamond, right? So Neil Diamond is quoting Benjamin Jones. You're choosing Benjamin Jones in the excerpt. Then you want to be as specific as you possibly can be. Tell me whose words those are, and are they the author of the article, or are they the person who spoke the content that the author of the article is quoting? So you want to be very specific with that for steps 1 and step 2. Now, step 3, you want to go back to the power verbs list, and you want to find one solid verb. Now, the power verbs list that we linked in various other pages and formats earlier in the semester, you just want to find one. Find one that would best capture the quotation from step 1. Okay. And this example, the student picked suggests, because she thought that Shibata was suggesting something through this quoted text. So step 4, type one sentence that A, identifies the title of your source, and B, includes all content from steps 1 through 3 above. So it would look like this way. Benjamin Shibata, step 2, suggests, step 3, in his journal, and then the title, an ethical analysis of euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide, rejecting euthanasia and accepting physician-assisted suicide with palliative care, that palliative care should be proposed as a viable option before a patient participates in PAS, as it, quote, can help patients deal with their challenges without the need to prescribe lethal means, right? So you're choosing a heavy excerpt for step 1 because I'm asking you to do a pluck and blend from that larger excerpt and to design your step 4 sentence around that, right? So you have quotations around the borrowed text. So you're not choosing everything from that excerpt, but step five is going to ask you to create 2 more sentences with each one mixing your words and the source's words using a different quotation from the article. So in effect, you're doing the same triplicate sentence structure that you've been doing. You're introducing the title and the author in the first sentence, but for step 5, when you give me your second and third sentence, you don't have to give me the full article title again. You don't have to give me the author's first full name again if it's already been introduced. So your second sentence could be Shibata reasons that euthanasia should be rejected as a feasible and lethal option because, quote, it would be impossible to control its potential for abuse and negative impacts, end quote, rather than it simply being because it is supposedly unethical. And then the student does it for the third sentence using the verb argues. So ultimately, you're creating 3 sentences. You're creating 3 sentences, right? But you're giving me this prefatory information at the jump. Now, to complete the assignment, what I would suggest doing is just clicking and dragging it like this way. And then copy, and then you can paste it into a new Microsoft Word document and complete it there. You can also complete it through Google Drive inside of a Google Doc and then download it to Microsoft Word, right? And then when it comes time to submit, just remember the other techniques. The first thing you want to do is agree to have it weighed against the global reference database, and then click the right submission, and you can copy and paste your completed content into this space. You don't want to click the comments. Some of you are putting it in here in the add comments. You want to not do that. Be sure to do it in the right submission button. So that text space, so that will make me able to provide grades to it. Or if it's saved online, or sorry, as a document, you can click the browse my computer and attach your file, or you can do both. I don't mind receiving both. Okay, so when you're done, you click submit in the lower right corner, and you would do that by Tuesday, April 7th, 11:59 p.m. Assuming we are not in next week, I will create another link in the dashboard like we see here for that new range, and I'll include links to everything you want to do during that span. But for now, this is our action plan. Refer to the general note on synthesis content just to remember all expectations about how to finish those assignments. All 4 submission portals for those papers are there, as well as successful examples of all 4 papers. The rubric has been revised to reflect the new point distribution because we're taking away the presentation component and all deadlines are still provided. All right, so review all of that on your own time, definitely. And when I start giving comments back to you on your synthesis papers, I haven't graded a good portion of those synthesis papers yet because I wanted to have a system in place to clarify that. So as you get papers back from me, you can go into my grades and you'll see the rubric breakdown for those synthesis assignments. You can click the rubric link and see your breakdown for those papers. And sometimes my grades in my comments, I will, for the sake of time and to promote your learning, give you a quick comment bubble that refers you to this list, the resource comment list. Sometimes if it's a dangling modifier, I can throw number 3 in the comment thread. You can refer to the video and be giving yourself adequate, thorough time to learn this concept, or more specifically, to unlearn the error behind the concept. And then again, through the 29th, post 3, synthesis 3, and then reflective report 3, you can start this and carry it into next week. All right, so this is your plan. Email me if you have questions, and definitely for past due assignments that you haven't submitted yet, I would rather you submit them late than not at all. Submit them, email me, communicate with me. And with regard to those who have said that they've started Zoom accounts, that's great. That's something that's probably going to take off more in April, assuming that we're still distant by then. But keep your Zoom account, remember your password, and we'll continue to develop strategies to get on board with that. I encourage everybody to set up a Zoom account, a free Zoom account. Use an email address that you don't mind receiving an occasional spam message from, but it would give you access to 40-minute meeting blocks, which could be very, very helpful. Because if I get enough of you to do that, if that's something that's a viable option, what I can do is we can have live Zoom sessions during the 12:30 to 1:50 block, starting April. So let me know, by the 29th at least, or sometime this week through email, when and if you're able to do a Zoom, and I will tailor the way that I use Zoom to meet the needs of the group. So I'm doing these individual videos because you don't need a Zoom to see it. But you would need a Zoom to have a live class session with me during our 12:30 to 1:50 block. So a lot to take in. Rewind, pause. You can stop the video and just kind of process things slowly but surely. And email me if you have questions. All right, I'm going to log out. Please exercise self-care and take care of yourselves as we continue onward.